Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
This team will never make it easy. They will never make it easy. The only dominant performance that comes to my mind was against the Milwaukee Bucks of all teams on Christmas Day. Obviously, there's juice involved in that one, and there's a ton of energy surrounding how big of a game it was and how it was on TV and everyone's watching and it's Christmas time. It's a big event. But how come this team won't walk through an opponent like the New York Knicks? I'm happy that they won, and I'm happy that they snapped the 6-game road losing streak. But I'm not satisfied with how they played. For it to come down to the wire, for them to almost lose the game, that irks me. It really does irritate me. They scored 18 points in the third quarter, 20 in the fourth, for a total of 38 second-half points against the stinking New York Knicks, a team with no talent, no identity, coaches being fired, and an organization that's trash? Come on now, fellas. We got to do better than that. As I stated, I'm happy that they won the game because the alternative is them losing to a team that sucks. But can we get a dominating performance? Can we crush an opponent that stinks, please, one of these times? There's plenty to talk about when it comes to this game. But before we do, I need to let you know about my promo code at SeatGeek. If you are looking to go to a game, you can use the promo code BROADS at SeatGeek's checkout page for $20 off. That is free parking, free beer, free food. It's a no-brainer to use the promo code BROADS today. So we'll start with how this game ended. Al Horford ended up hitting a mid-range 2 to go up 3 points. Now, this is after Al Horford struggled all night long shooting the ball. Now, he wasn't afraid to pop it in that moment, and I like that out of the veteran player. He knew that he missed a ton of baskets, but guess what? It's coming down to the wire. He's open, mid-range shot, bang, I'm going to hit it. And he did hit it, which is nice to see. Veteran leader stepping up. I know he did not have a good game all around. There's no denying it. But in that moment, for him to be willing to still let it fly, I'm all good with that. I do like that he sort of puts away everything else that occurred and said, this is the moment. This is the moment. I'm going to knock it. And he did. Josh Richardson, on an offensive possession, then has a big man on him when he's out by the perimeter. He breaks him down, gets to his spot right around the free throw line in the paint area, takes a jumper, misses. Now we have Tobias Harris. This is on the next Sixers possession. He sees Al Horford with a matchup he likes. He forces the pass, and it's a turnover. Now, I actually don't mind going to Al Horford in that spot. I thought he had a matchup that he can totally expose. But it's about executing. It's about getting the pass in at the right time, getting the pass to Al Horford in the right situation, and it wasn't. So Tobias turned the ball over. The Sixers get a defensive stop. Josh Richardson gets the ball again, and he breaks down where he wants to get to. He breaks down the defender, gets to where he wants to. Mid-range shot, bounces around the rim again. Same area, right around that free throw line in the paint, and does not make it. So very irritating. Marcus Morris comes down. This part of the game is a 1-point game. Marcus Morris comes down and drains a 2-pointer, a mid-range jumper, and the Sixers lose the lead. You gotta be kidding me. To this squad, to Marcus Morris. Now, I don't understand what Marcus Morris's deal is when it comes to the Sixers. He clearly despises this team. Every time he plays the squad, there's some sort of beef. There's some sort of flagrant foul. He's doing something after the whistle. He's doing something that is totally crossing the line. He plays with attitude, yes. And he would be a good fit for this team, yes. But for some reason, he has something inside of him that makes him absolutely hate this team. Was he smacking Josh Richardson in the face nonchalantly as if it was okay? I mean, come on, man. There was no reason for that, and it wasn't as if the game was chippy at that point. He just decided to do that to Josh Richardson. But I digress. When the Sixers got the ball inbounds, Tobias Harris was wide open. He drains the three. A big shot. It was his fourth three-pointer of the night. Now, he didn't have a great game shooting from the field. He didn't get to double digits until later in the game down the stretch, but he ended up making it happen. Now, apparently that wasn't even the look out of the timeout call. The first look would have been Josh Richardson, who led the team in fourth quarter scoring. But Tobias Harris saw what he had. He had a wide open three, he had a ton of space, and he made it happen. That's what you do. I talked about this previously. Your instincts come in, right? And if the play is to go to Josh Richardson, and that's not the best play available in that moment, and there's a wide open three right there for a guy like Tobias Harris, your instinct comes in and, hey, I'm going to take this shot. He delivered, absolutely. And the Sixers swarm the Knicks on the defensive side. Here comes the double team. Here comes Ben Simmons. Here comes everybody. They're forcing a turnover. And the Sixers hold on to win this one. They barely did. They barely did against a horrendous basketball team that can't be talked about enough. This Knicks team is awful. I can't believe it came down to this. I can't believe the score was 90-87 against this crap team. But it was. And they can move on to the next one. It's a little easier to move on to the next one. Could you imagine if they fell in Madison Square Garden to a team that barely has 10 wins? With a team that already lost 6 straight road games? It would have been embarrassing, and it would have been a brutal discussion about this team until Monday when they faced the Nets in Brooklyn in an afternoon tilt due to the holiday. So just a crazy game in terms of not being able to handle an opponent that has no business being in a game with this 76ers team. But let's talk about how some of these players play. Let's talk about Ben Simmons. Defensively, wow. It amazes me so much, and it shouldn't, because I know how elite he can be. And on the other side, it's not as if LeBron James, James Harden, Luka Doncic is out there, but I've seen him hold Luka Doncic to 4 of 17 shooting. I've seen him do a good job on James Harden. I've seen him defend great players in this league too. So when he goes up against the New York Knicks, and he does it there as well, I've already seen him do it and guarding 1 through 5 throughout this entire league so much that I can't use that excuse on Ben Simmons when he plays great defense that, well, it's only the Knicks. No, because he does it all the time. So with Ben Simmons bringing it defensively, it's amazing. And what he did offensively is he finished with 20 points once again. He had 8 assists, 7 rebounds. The thing with, he had 21 points total. Over 20 points is what I was getting at. He had a hot first half. Dunking the ball, mean mugging, he's screaming, he's flexing, he's doing his thing. And in the second half, it ends up being another second half where it's not as dominant when it comes to scoring. And I just wonder why that is. Does he have the mindset of, I'm going to attack in the first half, and when the second half slows down, I'm going to find my teammates. I'm going to make my teammates available because I know the game's going to slow down. I don't understand. It's a consistent theme with this guy. And it's so weird. Because why can't you do that against this Knicks team in the second half? There's no way that anyone on the other side should be able to stop someone like Ben Simmons from scoring 35 points in this basketball game after what he had the first half with. No? Am I crazy to say that? I don't think I am. Who on the other side can defend Ben Simmons to that level? When this team gets open in the open floor, it's incredible what Ben Simmons can do and what he does when he pushes the pace. It's so good. He's so talented. The game slows down and it's a different ball game, and he starts looking for his teammates a lot more, and he picks up his dribble and he moves the basketball differently, and it's not the same style of Ben Simmons once the first half is over, and it is a common theme. Let's talk about Furkan Korkmaz, because he followed up that big explosive night with 17 points in 22 minutes. And I'm not going to lie to you. I looked myself in the mirror and I asked, am I pushing my agenda on Furkan Korkmaz maybe a little bit too much? Am I going to an extreme? And I think I'm defending my point, so it's coming out across as I'm pushing the agenda. I'm going to give props to Furkan Korkmaz. He has been shooting the basketball at a very high rate. Over 40% over the last stretch that he's on. He can be a spark plug for this team, and he did it once again. Here's why I have the concern that I have. In 22 minutes, he scored 17 points. That's good. That's a lot of points. He knocked down threes. He's attacking the rim and even throwing a little floater in there. He's making things happen, and he's scoring points. How, in that short amount of time, scoring that many points, are you -7? When I look at plus minus, I go through the team and I say, okay, if there is an outlier, that's what sticks out to me. If everyone's +2, +4, +6, +2, +2, all right, the difference from +6 to +2, it's not so big. Josh Richardson, for example, was +17 in this basketball game. Compared to everybody else, that sticks out to me. So that's an outlier. I look at that and say, that means something to me. For Furkan Korkmaz to be so good offensively in this basketball game, he was. I'm giving him his props. How is he -7 when everyone else is around -2 in that range? And for him scoring that many points, how is he on the minus side to that level? I'm just asking that question. That's why I feel the way that I do about him defensively. But if he's shooting at this rate, he can be beneficial to this team moving forward as a role guy, getting minutes off the bench, especially because this team has nobody else who can shoot threes. So I'm done crushing him. I'm going to tell you how it is. He had a great basketball game in this one. I just look at the plus minus and I question, how is it that way? And that's why I have the concern that I do moving forward. I do have the concern. I'm just not going to beat it in and beat it in and beat it in and beat it in every single game. I'm genuinely rooting for this kid. I mean it. I am so sincere when I say that. I am rooting for this kid to shut me up and prove me wrong. Because he's making threes. The bench is going crazy. This team is rallying around Furkan Korkmaz coming off the bench and knocking down shots based off of his situation. Based off of the way everything went down with the organization. Last year, he wanted out and things didn't work out his way. They didn't pick up the option. Furkan's waiting around. He ends up signing back with the Sixers. And now he's shooting over 40% at this clip right now. Now, I will say with him, there is meaning behind playing the Bulls and playing the Knicks. And I need to see him do this against better opponents, better athletes, better teams in half-court sets. And my concern is still there. I looked myself in the mirror and said, I'm not going to beat it in anymore. I'm not going to throw all my concerns about Furkan Korkmaz after every single game at you moving forward. I'm just telling you that now. So moving forward, it's just about how he played in that basketball game, and I'll give him my kudos. I want him to succeed. I root for the Sixers. I do. I care about the Sixers. They mean so much to me. Furkan Korkmaz is on the Sixers. I want him to be a good basketball player. I want him to help this team win games. So from this point moving forward, the concern is still there, but I will openly root for him. I will point out everything he does great, and I will point out things that he does bad, just like I do with Ben Simmons and Al Horford and everybody else. But I'm not going to destroy him insanely like I have. Is that fair? I think that's fair. Because I look at Matisse Thybulle, and he played close to 30 minutes. He did not produce 17 points like Furkan Korkmaz did. He had his defensive greatness involved, but he was -7 as well. So you look at Corky, who gives you 17 minutes and -7, and Matisse, who gives you close to 30 minutes, and he's -7 without producing anything close to that offensively. Yeah, there's a difference, and that's why I tip my cap to what Furkan Korkmaz did in this basketball game. He gave us that third quarter run again. There's something to be said about that third quarter Furky run. He's doing it. All right, so how about Norvel Pelle? Norvel Pelle, back with the Sixers. It seems pretty obvious that this team wants him on the roster moving forward. He had a big block. He's giving the flex muscles and staring down his opponent while the Sixers are running down on the offensive side, and it leads to a James Ennis 3, and the crowd actually gets into it. Why is that, you ask? Because there were more Sixers fans in the Garden than there was Knicks fans. It's crazy with this Knicks team. They are a joke, and they have this tank mentality, but they're not even getting out of the tank. You got to praise the Sixers for eventually getting out of the tank. This Knicks team is consistently horrible, and they can't find any ways to get out of it. We are talking about a franchise like the New York Knicks. Say what you want about them. That logo and that Garden, Madison Square Garden, meant so much to people. It was so valued. It meant the world to basketball fans. Everyone wants to play in that arena 42 games a season, 41 games a season, plus playoffs. Everyone wants to see that logo on their chest, wants to wear those colors. Back in the day, now it's not even close to that because their management are frauds. The management as a whole, frauds. They can't get their coaching staff right. They can't find ways to draft the right talent. It's incredible. But anyway, back to my point about Norvel Pelle. The guy brings the juice. And if you haven't seen him on social media, not his social media with his personal account, but the way the Sixers use him in videos and the way he dances before games and whatnot, he is a character. He really is. You talk about character guys, locker room guys. In my prime, my nickname was the locker room guy. I mean, are you kidding me? That's what I did. I brought the energy in the locker room, made the boys laugh, threw some chirps out there. I brought it on the ice as well. That's what I did. When I look at Norvel Pelle, he brings that same type of attitude, and there's so much value in that. There's no way the Sixers let this guy go elsewhere. He will be on this roster. I mean, I would think at this point it's pretty clear the organization wants him on this squad as they brought him back up. Neto played over Burke. It seems as if there's a seesaw going. Trey Burke played bad, so then Brett Brown went with Neto for a little bit. Neto's playing bad, so I think it's time to go back to Trey Burke. They both are just rotating at this time. They really are. They're just rotating. They show spurts, then they stink. Then they show spurts, then they stink. And there's no doubt about it that Trey Burke's spurts of great basketball, and when I say great, I'm talking about great to their standards. Trey Burke's great is way better than Neto's great. And I think what Trey Burke brings to the table, being able to shoot off the dribble and create his own shot and work with the ball in his hands a little bit smoother, Trey Burke is the better option. But I'm not going to sit here and defend Trey Burke and say he's been playing so great that it was impossible to go to Neto to give him a chance. There were times where Trey Burke played bad basketball, and it wasn't ridiculous to give Neto an opportunity. And in one of those games, he made the most of his opportunity, scoring 7 points in the fourth quarter. But in this game, it was so awful, it's time to give that nod back to Trey Burke and hopefully push Trey Burke to take that spot. If I'm Brett Brown, I'm looking at Burke and I'm saying, Trey, you are the guy to win this battle. Go win it. Take it. It's yours to take. If I'm Brett, I'm telling him that. It's yours to take, but you got to earn it. That's how I would elect to go there. Norvel Pelle, by the way, was +9. When I looked at Al Horford in this one, he's consistently shooting that mid-range game and he's taking threes. I want to see him bully it a little bit more. I think he's good with the pick and pop. We've seen it as Sixers fans when he was with Boston. He does a great job with the pick and pop, and he hits that mid-range game. But I think he's consistently relying on that mid-range game right now. I would like to see him play more bully ball to get easier buckets, to see the ball go through the hoop. Take advantage of your size, get in the post, or maybe even pick and roll and get him going to the basket instead of the pick and pop where he's going to settle for that mid-range jumper. Get him rolling to the basket. Throw a bounce pass. Have Josh Richardson throw a bounce pass to him. Get him to the basket. Get Al Horford going closer to the rim. I'm not saying take away what he does with the pick and pops because I think he is good in that game. But I would like to see him get to the basket more instead of settling so much. And that does come down to scheme and the way Brett Brown is dialing things up. And speaking of Brett Brown, he actually drew up a nice play out of a timeout there. And it led to a Furkan Korkmaz easy dunk. Now, the Knicks are all over the place, and I get that. But it did lead to a Furkan Korkmaz easy little put-in. 14 turnovers. They continue to do well with the turnover department. 10 of 32 from 3. As I state, ever since I made that 3-point numbers video when it came to the Sixers, I broke down their numbers compared to the league, what they're shooting, how many they attempt, and I said the Sixers are not shooting that many threes. They're just not hitting them. They average around taking 30 threes a game, and they hit around 10. They shot 10 of 32. This is what the Sixers are when it comes to three-point shooting. This is about their average. So this is what you should expect in a basketball game. 31.3% is what it finished out as. So take that for what it is. It's funny because it's almost as if we totally forget about Joel Embiid. Joel, where are you? It's going to be such a difference maker when that guy is back in. He dominates the game like no other. The rim protection is going to be insane. What he brings to the defensive side is so elite due to his length and what he does to other teams when they are afraid to attack. Bring it to the other side. When you need a bucket, you can get a bucket. It's just funny how someone like Joel Embiid, the presence of Joel Embiid and missing him just gets lost. It's not discussed enough, and I get it. What are you gonna talk about it and discuss it after every game? There's nothing you can do about it, right? It is what it is. He's gonna miss time. He's not available. So you're just gonna freak out about him not being available after every game? No. But it just gets so lost during these stretches because he's out for such a significant amount of time that losing someone like Joel Embiid is a big deal. We're talking about arguably the best center in the league. Incredible. So let me know your thoughts down below on this one. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, and I will see you next time.